Hi everyone, and welcome to our webinar. I'm just going to put this up on the screen here. So we are delighted that you've joined us. We've got people from Scotland, we've got people from Toronto, people from Italy, people from Finland and Norway. So a big welcome to you all. So we're delighted to be joined by a couple of guests, one of which you'll already know and love. Ivan, welcome to our webinar. How are you?
Hello, pretty good. Excited to be here.
Excellent. And you're going to be answering all the questions in the chat. So if you are just joining us, please do say hello in the chat, where you are from. We love seeing where you're from. And also, please do put your questions, because Ivan will answer them in the chat. And if you leave any good comments, we'll also put them on the screen. And what we love to do is answer your questions throughout the webinar, because if we leave time at the end, we've forgotten all the great questions. So we'll do them as and when they come in. And we love to hear all your questions and feedback. I'm also delighted to be joined by my superb colleague, Andreas. Andreas, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Very excited to be here tonight. There's a lot to talk about. So I'm happy to be part of it.
Thank you very much for joining us. And you're going to be doing a live demonstration of how you can create a scenario from just a PDF. Does it get any better than that? So we'll say farewell to Ivan and send you back to the green room to answer all of those questions. And let's get started. So as you heard, we have a lot to get through. So of course, we'll make sure that you get all of the slides. You'll get all of the links in an email that'll come out approximately an hour after the webinar, and there'll also be a link to the replay, which you can watch to your heart's content and share, of course, as well. So ThingLink has evolved. Those of you who know and love ThingLink and have been part of our community for some 14 years have seen exponential growth in this last year. And that's partly because we've had more opportunity to take on board your feedback. Our communities are growing. And as your use cases grow, the more you suggest things to us. And we've got such an agile support team. They just get on and they make those improvements happen. But ThingLink has come such a long way just from interactive images. And this slide is a really good summary of where we are now. And that is about taking your existing static materials, your static training, your static images or your videos, and making them completely interactive and, of course, immersive. And how we do that is we enhance with virtual physical spaces with layers of multimodal information. So you can add in all of those hotspots to spaces that you create. They may be 360 environments created with AI directly in ThingLink, or it might be that you use your phone to take a panoramic image of a classroom or a space, upload that to ThingLink, and we'll turn it into a photosphere for you. So you don't even need a 360 camera. How about that, Andreas? Because I don't ever take my 360 camera out. It's always in my drawer, but I do have a mobile phone with me. So at least I can create some of those images. So as I mentioned, ThingLink is about 14 years old now. Can you believe it? And I've been with them for 5 years now. Time has absolutely flown by. But we have seen lots of growth across all of these areas. So ThingLink is used in education, and that's right the way through from early years, K to 12, so primary school, secondary school, high school, colleges, and then higher education. But we're also seeing a lot of growth in what we would call the e-learning sector, and that is learning and development. And we're seeing people take what was, yes, Claire, you can use drone footage. Please go ahead and have a go, and I can even help you if you like. But you could take your existing processes and manuals, your induction training, your onboarding training for new members of staff or new students, and create those experiences for them. And that multimodal experience we know is going to have a greater impact. And we're also used a lot in communications and marketing, galleries, museums, so many reasons to know and love ThingLink. But don't just take my word for it, because we couldn't start a webinar all about how far ThingLink has come without hearing from Ulla Maria Koivula, our CEO and founder of ThingLink.
Hi, my name is Ulla, and I'm the founder and CEO of ThingLink. In the next few weeks, ThingLink will be introducing a series of products that will be essential for any organization that is looking to modernize learning and support their employees with better training materials. First, we are introducing the new AI-assisted ThingLink Scenario Builder that helps you transform existing documents into visually appealing, mobile-friendly training experiences that are accessible in any language. This is an absolutely wonderful time-saving tool that helps you improve your student or employee experience in a short time and with a small budget. Second, we're making it even easier to integrate ThingLink with your existing ecosystem of learning tools. In the upcoming weeks, we will be introducing various new ways and partnerships for sharing your interactive assets across learning management systems, high-end headsets, and even immersive meeting rooms. Through ThingLink, organizations will soon have access to customizable landing pages for content sharing. Customizable landing pages allow you to arrange and share your training experiences with different groups on a dedicated page. Think about this page as your ThingLink content hub that can be shared to an LMS or accessed via VR headsets. On the topic of headsets comes our third major update. ThingLink will be introducing native apps to the leading VR headsets that connect the customizable landing pages to easy VR viewing. This means different groups of learners will have a quick access to training materials that have been specifically selected for them. Finally, ThingLink will be introducing a new AR experience for pass-through headsets. With this, anything, literally, any physical environment can be turned into an interface for learning. ThingLink is an easy way for you to improve your employee experience and also save a lot of time and resources. Contact us today to try it out.
Well, how cool does that look? Andreas, I know that you've had a go with some of those headsets. I did too recently in Finland. They are incredible, aren't they?
It's fantastic. Yeah, it's just a whole different experience, and I cannot wait to delve more into the VR headsets for sure.
And of course, if you're creating ThingLink scenes or scenarios, you're going to be able to view those not on just any headset, but on any device as well. And we'll be able to show people that a little bit later on. So moving on swiftly. So this is what our suite of tools for 2025 looks like. So whenever you go into your ThingLink account, these are the main things that you're going to be able to see. So first of all, we've got our main ThingLink editor. That's the OG, the one that's been there since day dot. And of course, it's just got better and better. And now, of course, you have the second product or the sister product, the ThingLink Scenario Builder. And that is there because people were creating these wonderful scenes and saying, how can we link them all together? And actually, wouldn't it be great if you could create these branching paths throughout, which is why the Scenario Builder was created. I've mentioned the Panoto 360 app. So if you don't have a 360 camera, you can create your own 360 images directly with your mobile phone. And of course, as Ulla said there, AR apps. So you'll be able to create a space and have ThingLink pictures that you've taken with the ThingLink AR Viewer app, you'll be able to hover your phone over it and all the hotspots will appear on your phone. I see there's some teachers in the chat, and I'm just going to call out one teacher, Claire Lake. Imagine if you've got a classroom in your school, you could have a poster of a ThingLink, and it even be a blank room, and you could hold the phone over it and all of the experiments could pop up. So you could create a whole lab in one blank space, you know. So many ideas, lots and lots of uses for AR experiences. And of course, that will work on iPads or tablets. But the main product updates I wanted to share with you today are, firstly, our improved ThingLink Multimedia Editor. And when you get this deck, you'll be able to click on this image and it will take you through to this ThingLink that I've created. And the first thing that I'm going to show you here is that there used to be 5 tag types, because I used to have the same 5 tag types, 5 types of base media, but now we have 6. So we, of course, have our text and media tag with built-in immersive reader. And in this tag, you can add in PDFs if you wanted to. You can even put in 3D objects into that tag. So that's our text and media tag. You've also got your plain text label. So that's the plain label there. Your embed tag, so that you can embed any third-party product or web page, and it's going to be completely interactive. The transit tag, which enables you to hop from one ThingLink to another. A poll tag, so you can do some quick snap polls. So this is really helpful if you want to get some instant feedback. For example, you could use this if in a classroom, for example, if you had students creating scenarios or escape rooms, and they could get a little bit of feedback there. So it's a quick snap poll. But this is new. We have a question tag, and this tag is only going to grow and get better and better. And here you can ask a quick question to check comprehension, something like that. So those tags are only going to keep getting better and better. But yes, our 6 tags, but also other improvements. We've got locked mode, guided mode, so you can open tags sequentially. So you'll be able to click on this in the deck when you get it and explore the new improved multimedia editor. So many ways in which you can use it as well. But the main focus of our webinar today is about the new scenario builder. So you will be able to, in the new scenario builder, create branching scenarios, and it's been optimized for mobile view. It'll also give you a more streamlined focus with the single forward and back button. Here you can see we've got some tags built in there. We've got immersive reader to play throughout the whole scenario. And if I click this forward.
Hello and welcome to our cabin crew safety training.
This is an example of some cabin crew safety training. And here you can see we've got different branches to take people down, and then they can have built-in questions and go through emergency situations. All of this can be built from one PDF of information, and Andreas is going to show you how to do that. So if I go back into my ThingLink account, I'm just going to go into my ThingLink account. So when I log in, you'll see that I have my 2 blocks here for the multimedia editor, for the scenario builder there. And if I click on my scenarios, if you've already been using Scenario Builder version 1, you can see all of your existing scenarios. So you're not going to lose those existing scenarios. They are going to be there for you, and you're going to be able to access them. So I just want to reassure you that you're not going to lose those. But you'll see now that there's a version 2 button. If you only see the version 2, it's because you haven't got any scenario 1 versions already. So we've just automatically moved you on to the latest and greatest version. But we don't want you to worry if you've got scenarios there already that you've created. You're not going to lose them. What you can do, however, though, is here's an example of a branching scenario that I created in a previous webinar, which was enabling students to have a go at what would happen if the coffee machine broke down. And here I've got goals and I've got points, and I can have mandatory questions, and I can set it up so it plays beautifully as one self-paced learning experience. What you'll be able to do now, though, if I click on the 3 dots here, which is more actions, I can actually convert this to 2.0. And just by clicking the button there, it's giving me the option to clone, and it is now set that all up in my new scenario 2. And that's just exactly as the question that's just come on there. So original scenarios, yes, they will stay in your version 1, but you can convert them to this new version, which I'm sure you'll agree is going to give you much greater flexibility. We've got drag and drop blocks. There's even an auto layout. If you make it really messy, it will just put it back into a nice order for you. And you'll be able to see the different views as well, where you can move things around and change them. So that's just a little quick overview of what the scenario builder looks like when you're actually in your interface. But I'm just going to go back to my slides now, and I'm just going to talk a bit about the benefits. And I would love you to put this in the chat as well. What do you think the benefits of scenarios and simulation-based learning is? And Andreas, I know you and I love to talk about this. Anything that springs to mind that you see is beneficial about scenario-based learning?
For me, it's probably the safe environment to just fail and try over again once you actually failed, and just reach a point where you feel really confident to react upon a certain situation. And yeah, I think just giving users the freedom to go through a simulation without having any fear to do a mistake, and yeah, just try as often as possible to become confident.
That's a great answer. And I was at a webinar with Dr. Leah Green, and Leah was talking about how you're making your students active participants in the learning process. And Leah, she was fantastic. And we actually did a webinar the other day with the University of Salford, and Leah was in the chat. And she'd actually been involved in some research where they looked at how people felt and how that immersive learning experience impacted them physically. And they certainly found that people had more of a connection. It was more relevant for them, and they actually experienced the physicality, particularly in risky situations, even though you were doing it in that safe way. And that's some of the reasons that made it so impactful, because it was an immersive experience. And she also mentioned the importance of safety as well, and making sure that if you are looking at scenarios which might have situations of risk, if they're triggering, you might want to look after your learners too. But certainly soft skill development, when in a world that you can find information online, or you can spin something up on ChatGPT, how can we present learning experiences that are really engaging? And you can't cheat, because you can't, there's no point, you've got to work through things in a logical way. But also it's a way of being, someone's put it in the chat there, really, really nice. It's a way of being able to look at really authentic assessment, personalized learning experiences, so people can pick their own path through that experience. There's a nice link in here as well to some research. But just as you said, failure-based learning, there's no real world risk. I guess for me, if people are creating a scenario that's based in a real classroom or a real venue, that's based on the 360 images they've taken. They're making it contextually relevant, culturally relevant. It's not off the shelf. And I think that people have realized now that a lot of off-the-shelf content just isn't right for some learners. It might not be contextually relevant. It's not relatable, is it? So having these kinds of do-it-yourself scenario-based simulations enable you to be able to create that learning that's really relevant. This is something that we've also shared before that we wanted to flag up, and that is, how do you successfully build scenario-based learning? And this is what we lovingly called the 5 C's. So if you were planning it out from scratch, and remember that in your ThingLink account, you'll be able to, if I just go back to this now, you'll be able to create your scenarios. I'm just going to put in test there, from scratch or with AI. You know, how if you want to start building it from scratch, what are some of the principles that you might use? And we set this out to help people to think about scenario-based learning and what the steps are. But also, even if you're using AI to prototype your scenario, you'll want to go back and check it and make sure that it aligns with your ideas. So we thought this would be helpful for you all, and you'll get this on a handout as well in the email that comes out to you. So when you're planning scenario-based learning, think about the context, making it that relatable situation. Then what's the challenge? Having a problem or a challenge which is really well outlined can help align it to learning outcomes, but you can also build on that context and have the challenge. And then, of course, you've got your choices. So if you were working in the coffee shop and the coffee machine broke, what would you do? Would you switch it on and off again? Or actually, would you just give up and put the closed sign on the door and lose all your customers? What might happen? So you're giving people the opportunity to see the consequences of their choices in that safe environment that you just described, Andreas. And then, of course, what do you do when you come through that consequence is that you give someone the opportunity to have that contemplation. What would be the impact? It's like measuring the opportunity cost, isn't it? If I'd done it differently, what would have been the outcome? And then, of course, you can give someone the opportunity to see what would happen if they did it differently. And that's the very essence and the beauty of scenario-based learning. So you can tell that I'm a bit of a fan of it.
Clearly, yeah.
So hopefully that's already starting to put some seeds and plant ideas of exactly how you might like to think about scenario-based learning, whether you're building it from scratch in ThingLink with your existing ThingLink scenes and your 360 media or your drone footage or your 360 videos, building that context, or whether you're going to build it with AI. So this is that kind of flow. And of course, you can rinse and repeat at the end: context, challenge, choices, consequences. And of course, we're giving you the tools to be able to do all of this. So we know that sometimes it can be hard to build, even with a pen and paper, or even using post-it notes. There's quite a bit of planning that can be involved in pick your own path adventure games or scenarios. So this is why we've introduced our ThingLink new scenario builder, which is powered with AI. So we're making it really easy for you to create with your own content, to convert your existing PDFs. Then it's really easy to share with the new landing pages that you heard Ulla mention. And we're also going to make it really easy for you to demonstrate those outcomes as well. So we just had a little look at creating from scratch and some of the ideas about that. And for those of you that have already been using Scenario Builder, you are still going to see these blocks apart from this one. So this was our jump back block. And if you click on this, actually, it would take you to an old ThingLink that I thought it'd be quite fun just to keep. So you can go in and see what some of these blocks are. So we're keeping all of those apart from the jump back block, because in the new scenario builder, there are new ways in which you can do this. So I'm just going to go back into my ThingLink account. And if I go back to my scenario, which I just converted, you can see here that I've got my challenges. I've got a challenge, which is what do you do when the coffee machine breaks? And then I've got 2 different outcomes here, and I've put a timer on there as well, so you can have a timer. I've got some text here, which is sensible and proactive choice. And then I've got another text box, which is oh dear. And when they finish, what they do is they get bounced back to the question. And instead of the jump back block, what you can do now is you can just drag a line across back to that block. How easy is it? So there's no jump back block. We've just made it a lot easier. And of course, you'll be able to move all of these around. So if I just show you that as a quick preview, there we had our coffee opening time and our problem. We had a 3D coffee machine, the problem brewing, the coffee machine wasn't working. We've added some time pressure in there with a step. So bringing that, kind of physicality to it. What do? Tell the customers the machine is not working, so there's no coffee now. And unfortunately, they've left. So now it bounces me back. So now you can use that line to bounce yourself back into that question, your learner back into that question. So we'd love you to get to know the Scenario Builder interface a little bit more. Play around with it. You can create as many scenarios as you want to. And now you know that you can convert your scenarios to. There's some new guidance that's come out, and you'll get this on the email that comes out after this, and it takes you right the way through those 5 C's that I've just mentioned. And I've mentioned the time pressure already that you can add to a block, or you can add to the whole scenario as well. Now, I've talked enough, Andreas. I think it would only be fitting if I handed over to you now to show us how you can use the new Scenario Builder to create a whole branching scenario with just a PDF. Does that sound like a challenge?
It sounds wonderful. I'm very excited about it. I probably sat here smiling for the last 30 minutes just listening to you. Yeah, I'm very excited about everything. And yes, if you want me, I can get started.
Excellent. So I'm just looking at all the questions. There's some really, really nice questions. Amanda, yes, you could embed, you can bring your own chatbot and embed it into a tag if you wanted to as well. Lots of really nice examples there. Andreas, do you want to go ahead and share your screen and I'll switch it over? Yes. Oh, Claudia said she's already done one and embedded it. There you go. Superb. Right. So I'm going to add your screen in and I'm going to remove myself, and over to you.
Can you see my screen all right before I get started?
We can.
Perfect. All right. So previously, you always had the choice to either create a scenario from a blank version or use one of our templates. But now with our new Create with AI, you can generate a scenario from scratch using our AI integration. And here we have the option to choose between 3 AIs. And I will just go with the recommended version. And now we would go to our describe your training scenario section, where you just very briefly describe what you would like to produce, just to give AI a bit more content to work with. And here I just copied and pasted basically the introduction to the PDF file that I will upload right now. And you can see it's not only a one-page PDF, but it pretty much goes over several pages. And you can add up to 5 PDFs to a maximum of 25 megabyte. And before I continue, here you have also the option to change the language. So basically the output language and what language you would like the scenario to be built. And now AI slowly analyzes the PDF and gives you 2 options on how this or what the structure should look like. And here we have first the linear structure, where you basically have one block after another, and then we have a branched version. To make it a bit more exciting today, I will go ahead with the branched version. And now, based on the description I provided as well as the PDF I uploaded, it spits out a few learning objectives that are suggestions, as well as content areas. Those are all editable. So if, let's say, I only want to focus on 2 learning objectives, and let's say I edit here a bit, I remove that one, and let's remove the others as well. So now I have 2 learning objectives, and I'm actually quite happy with the content areas that AI suggested for me.
I'm just going to put one question that's just come up. So someone asked if it has to be a PDF that they use. So at the moment, it is just a PDF, isn't it? And you can upload up to 5 PDFs.
Exactly. Yes. So for now, only PDF works. We are planning to also implement, for example, docs or PowerPoint presentations, but there are always workarounds. So for example, the PDF that I just uploaded was also a presentation before, and I just exported it as a PDF file.
That's a great tip. So if you've got a Word document or a Google Doc or any other types of docs, like a slide deck, you can export it as a PDF. So yeah, it doesn't prevent anybody, does it?
No, exactly. And I already clicked on create because it takes AI about 1 minute or even less to create the outline of the structure. And just to refer back to the previous steps we just took. So my tips would be to be very specific about the description of your course or of the training scenario you would like to produce. And then it doesn't really matter in what language you describe it. You could do it in English, but a PDF file could be in German, for example, and the final project output could be in Finnish. So it doesn't really matter. AI will help you creating the version in different languages.
That's amazing. So just to reiterate that, you started with a PDF, you uploaded it, all you did was give a description, and it's created this whole branching scenario for you on from one PDF.
Yes, exactly. And you can see it's very long. You can always shorten it. And
the other thing that I wanted to just mention there, Andreas, as well, is that, you know, people can upload content to like OpenAI, you know, things like Notebook LLM, and they might get some kind of material back because you can upload file types to AI. But this has been trained on those principles that we've talked about, like the 5 C's. That's the difference with the AI that's built into the ThingLink Scenario Builder, is that it's been specifically trained to create these types of experiences. That's the differentiator. It's based on learning science, I guess, is what I wanted to point out.
Yeah, exactly. And now we basically have, let's call it a framework of the scenario that I, based on the description as well as the PDF file I uploaded. And now, as I said, AI just gives you the framework, or let's say a customized template. So you can now click on the text blocks or media blocks or any other block, and you can now customize it even further. So for example, now you also have the option to either improve the writing or like rewrite the text that is within the text block, or you can just suggest a matching image that is created by AI as well, based on the content in the text block. And you can see here, it's not very viewable. So the way you can just preview it is if you click on preview. And if you're happy with it, sorry, do you
know
want
what would be helpful, Andreas, is if you showed people the original PDF, because this is mind-blowing, because these images haven't come from the PDF, have they?
No.
So have you got the original PDF handy there, so you could just show them exactly, because someone was asking about the kind of information that you could have, what you need on the PDF itself, what kind of information?
I'm just opening it now. Let's see. Let's see if I can open it here. No, I can see it right now. Wait, hang on.
Don't worry if you can't. But yeah, I mean, any kind of PDF would work, and the information can be text and images. And it doesn't actually pull the images and recreate the images. It uses the text, doesn't it? And the images itself. It doesn't recreate the images, if that's right.
Exactly, yes. So right now, the image is being generated based on the text that is within the text block. But if I can, like, I have access to the PDF file, I just have to find out how I can share my screen while showing the PDF file. But anyway, so now you can just go through your scenario and basically change the blocks. And let's say now we have an emergency exit, and I could do pretty much the same, that I would like AI to suggest an image for me. And now it takes a few seconds and I immediately have an image. And let's say I'm not happy with the image, then I can just simply delete it and it's gone. The other option would be is to upload one from your own browser or desktop, and then it would appear in the same way. And then there is a third option. So instead of only having text and an image, you can convert the whole tag into a ThingLink scene. So let's try it out.
So just to reiterate, you are now able to create a whole ThingLink scene just from your text, and that includes the image and the tags.
Exactly, yes. So if I click, if we have a look on the image, now the image has been created as well as the tags from the text that was actually embedded in the text block. So it saves you a lot of time. And you know what I like the most about this tool is you're still the boss. So like AI works more as an assistant for you. So let's say if you're not happy with the image, you can just redo your action, and now it turned back into a text block. The same works for media blocks. So before, we always had the option to create a scene immediately, select the scene from our content that we already created, or embed in code. But now we also have the option to only create a media based on the recommendation AI gave us based on the content from the PDF file. So now if we again click on convert to ThingLink scene, takes again a few seconds, and AI will do the rest for us. So again, we have a image and text. So it's fairly easy and it's very straightforward. And I think that's what I like, and which really goes hand in hand with what we've done so far at ThingLink, that it's very user-friendly and easy to do for everyone. So yeah, but instead of using convert to ThingLink scene, again, you can always embed your own or choose your own ThingLink scenes. For example, here, an emergency exit. If we look at the fire blanket, you can just keep on going and building your scenario based on the content you have previously created. So it's fairly easy. And as you already showed, you can just drag and drop the different blocks as you wish. If you're not happy with, let's say, the number of blocks, you can always delete them. And if you think, there might be another block that could fit in, you can just simply delete the link and add your new block to it. So let's say we have an orientation of the office that we build in here, and we connect the blocks with each other. And now if I would do the reshuffle again, or the auto correction, then the whole layout would look nice and sleek once again. So yeah, and that's basically how I would now personalize and customize my scenario. And I can always use also different scenes, such as 3D images or 3D scenes, 360 images, and so forth.
That's amazing. If you just go back to that, add the media block as well. So I don't know if people are aware. So if you just go back into one of the media blocks for me, and then you open it up.
As a preview?
Yeah, no, to edit.
Oh, to edit.
Edit, yeah. So if you go back into the edit, you can upload a scene, but you can also embed other scenes as well, not just ThingLink scenes, but you could embed YouTube videos. You can embed all kinds of things in there, can't you?
That's a very good point. Yeah, absolutely. So it does not necessarily only need to be ThingLink specific, but as you said, you can also insert a URL, for example.
So you could always, because I know that we've always said with ThingLink that everybody loves us and we play nicely with everybody. So we always believe in people having a whole suite of tools. So imagine if you've got Fig Jams or Padlets or Google Forms or anything like that, you can embed those as blocks as well, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
that's amazing.
That's a very good point. Yes, and let's turn one more text block into a ThingLink scene, just for the fun of it. Yeah, I really like to or enjoy playing around with it. And let's say, as I mentioned before, that you're still sort of in the driver's seat. So for example, this might be unnecessary. So we can delete blocks, for example, that one and here. And then we can just simply replace them by media that we have previously created. And here's a wonderful cover page that I always base on the template you created, Luis. It's fantastic. And I know it's part of the resource bank you're going to share after the webinar. So just a shout out to you that this is a wonderful template to use.
So Claire, yes, you are smart enough. I can say that because I know Claire personally, as a former colleague of mine from my Highland Council days. It's so easy to use, Claire, and you could start off small, just with, you know, a simple branch like the coffee one, where you've got a situation and you've got 3 different answers, and then what's the answer to each question. So although it might look quite confusing on the screen there, it's so easy to use. So if you go to the preview, Andreas, you can show people exactly what this looks like. If you go to preview it, if you're able to.
Yeah. I just wanted to add 2 more points, and then I'm happy to
go for it.
Yeah, perfect. Again, like I love playing around with that tool. So now, for example, if we decide after we actually created the outline, hey, I would love to have another branch, then we can just simply add another branch, and let's call it a fire simulation. And as you can see, we then only have to basically add our medias into each other. And as I said before, if you, let's say, made a mistake, so for example, I actually wanted to have that block first connected, then I can delete the link and then connect them with each other. And you could just keep on going like this. And there, like now is where all the other AI tools also come together. So for example, if you would like to add a few questions, you could also use our AI tool to generate the questions for you. If you would like to have a few more questions to take.
And they can be mandatory questions as well that people have got to get right in order to progress. So they can't cheat and just go to the end. They've got to get it right. And then you would know if they got those points at the end, wouldn't you?
Exactly, yes. So you could now, let's say, once they get to the fire extinguisher, now they would get a score of 10, or not 100, a 10. And if you place the score at the end, then you know that they really went through that branch, because only then they get the score of 10 and not before. And the last thing before I show the preview is something I'm really excited about, and that is a multilingual support for the scenarios. That means once you created the scenario, and let's say you have an international audience with German speaking people, Italian and French speaker audience, you can now have the language support for the scenario as well. And you can not only share the scenario with the specific language, you can also allow the participants to switch between the languages as they go through the scenario. All you have to do is turn the language selector on, and let's have a preview.
Amazing.
So now here down below, you also have now the select language button.
Do you want to change the screen to the preview mode?
Oh, I'm sorry. It happens all the time, yes. So now we have our scenario. Here we have the select language button where you could just change the whole language. But I will just progress a little, give a quick run through, and then I will change the language. Here now we have our branching options. If we now first go to the emergency equipment, I can familiarize myself with all the emergency equipment that you can find in an office. And then you can just go through. When I go back and let's say, but now I want to see the fire simulation. And as you can see, now you can also play with different features. So for example, gives a bit more, a better touch, a more immersive touch to the whole experience.
That's amazing. So just to summarize then, Andreas, you took a PDF of information about fire safety, but you had a few blocks and different media blocks created, like the video and the open scene and the 360 images. But uploading that PDF gave you that structure, and then you could just add in your different types of media once you checked it, and then add in all the extras like the translation options.
Exactly. So AI created the whole structure for me, and I basically only based on AI's recommendation and suggestions, I basically then created my scenes and added them.
Amazing.
To the scenario.
Andreas, thank you so much for that in-depth look at the scenario builder. I think you've just done it such a justice, because to do all that from a PDF is just phenomenal. We've got a great question, which is about analytics. So let's have a look a little bit at analytics and how we might share as well. So we've gone over the 2 ways to create, which is you can create from scratch and use those principles, as we saw with the 5 C's and your own content, or create with AI, because it's going to show you a whole structure based on your PDF. Andreas, can you get the original PDF up? Because that would be great to see that. So
yes,
yeah, Andreas is going to show you the original PDF that he used. But whilst he's finding it, just want to highlight the fact that, these can be personal experiences and shared and viewable on a mobile device, whether that's a phone, an iPad, a Mac, a Chromebook. It's going to work beautifully. And you can even use one of our tools to show you what it's going to look like on those devices as well. But imagine if you were doing that on a touch screen as well, and you wanted to do that with a class, either on an interactive panel or a short throw projector. So that means that you can create those kind of shared immersive experiences as well. But it will also work on your interactive room. So imagine this being in your igloo or something like that, where you've got projectors. Again, you could turn a white classroom into a completely immersive space. I know that some schools, universities, and workplaces are buying these immersive rooms, but it can also work on VR headsets. Remembering, of course, that VR headsets are not for everybody. They might be cost prohibitive. They might not be right for some learners. So you can share your scenario, whatever device people are using and however you want that experience to be, or that scenario to be experienced. So we talked a little bit about analytics there. And on your scenario, when you go into the editor, you'll see something like this, and it will show you by individual student or overall which were the popular paths that people took. So you can get irrefutable evidence, because it's based on that student logging in with their ThingLink account, that they completed that scenario. So that can be used for mandatory training, or it could be used for a simulation with a high stakes kind of assessment at the end of it. So those advanced analytics are going to be there for you. Now, again, going back to sharing, and you saw us mention the landing page. Andreas, have you got that PDF? You've got it. Do you want to share your screen? Because I really want to show Kelly and everybody else what that original PDF looked like. Here we go. I'm adding your screen now.
And as you can see, it's just a very simple looking presentation. Here is the introduction that I just copied and pasted to describe the scenario I wanted to have. And yeah, as you can see, it's very plain looking, a lot of text, and AI created me such a nice structure for an interactive scenario.
So people could create standard operating procedures. They could create training for a specific kind of piece of equipment just from a PDF, and it's all going to be accessible on their phone. Amazing. Thanks, Andreas. I hope that helps, Kelly. And now you've seen exactly what that original PDF looked like. So I'm going to show you now a little bit about our new landing pages. So as you know, you can, of course, embed your ThingLink scenes or your scenarios into your learning management system, or things like Google Classroom, Google Teams. You might use Blackboard, Moodle, any of those, and it will write back to the gradebook. We also have something called XAPI, which means that you can get even more detailed learner records. But sometimes people want to share on their very own content hub. So think of our new landing pages as your very own ThingLink content hub with playlists. I'm going to show you exactly what this looks like. So I am going to go back into my ThingLink account, and I do have a ready-made person set up in my account. His name's Bob. And Bob has created a landing page for his Coffee Mastery Hub. And you can see now you've got these playlists, and these playlists that you create can include both ThingLink scenes, and they can, of course, include your scenarios, all based on playlists. And the great thing about this is that you can create your own URL. So if I just paste this into the chat, you can see that there's thinglink.com/o/latte art, because it's the latte art bit that's customizable. So if I go back into Bob's account and go into organization, if you're an admin of your own account, you'll see all of these settings, and there's a landing page setting. Here we've got a custom URL that you can make, and you will be able to, in the future, have multiple landing pages as well. So then you can customize with its own logo, the new hero image at the top, give it a title, a description, and then here you can see we've got these playlists. And I'm just going to add a playlist here, and I'm just going to call this test. There we go. And now when I've got my new playlist created, I'll be able to edit my playlist, and there you go. I can add a scene, or I can add a scenario direct to that playlist. How cool is that? I'm going to click cancel and delete that one, but that's as hard as it gets. So as soon as you create those playlists, a bit like YouTube, you'll be able to add your ThingLink scenes or your scenarios and share it with that one URL. How cool is that? And of course, if you have publicly available ones, people won't need to log in. However, you can even have ones that are just viewable for your organization, and then the viewer must be logged in to see it. And then, of course, when they're completing it, ThingLink will be able to get those statistics. So that's our new ThingLink landing pages. People have been asking this for ages, so we're really pleased that we've been able to offer that to you. So do have a play around. When you get these slides on the email that I send out about an hour after the webinar, you'll be able to click on those and have a look at your new organization landing pages. So we're coming to the end of our webinar. We really hope that this has been helpful to go right into the new scenario builder, creating with a PDF, building from scratch, and being able to share it. And at the end of our webinars, we love to bring back Ivan. Ivan, welcome back to the webinar. You've been answering all the questions in the chat there. Now, we know that ThingLink Scenario Builder is, of course, quite new. And as with anything new, we love your feedback. So if you do want to give us any suggestions, or you've got ideas, you can always contact Ivan by clicking on the Learn More, and you'll be able to submit questions. But Ivan, you've already given people lots of new support links on the support center. So you've got already some frequently asked questions. Is that right? Yes.
Yes, sorry, I'm answering the questions in the chat still.
Yes.
Yeah, so as always, we have lots of documentation on scenarios available already. So I definitely recommend taking a look wherever you are a new ThingLink user or you have used the first version of the scenario builder. We go through all the details, including details that we just didn't have time to cover today, like what's the best way to assign scores to your blocks, what's the best way to set up branching blocks, and things like that. And as Louis said, if there is something that we didn't answer today, or if you start using Scenario Builder after this webinar and you've got questions, as always, just send a message to support@thinglink.com, and I or one of our colleagues will get back to you. You might also encounter Andreas if you email us in German. So that's a secret.
One of the three of us will get back to you, and we love doing demos, and we're always happy. You know, if anybody, your existing customers of ThingLink, or you're thinking about it, we would love to hop on a call and offer a demo. Or you could even send us a PDF as a trial, and we'll create a scenario with your PDF. How about that? Yes, here's the frequently asked questions that we've started putting together. I released this morning. This will also be on the email that you get with all of the resources that we've mentioned. So please do have a look at those. Let us know if there's anything else that we can do. And if you are interested and you don't have a ThingLink organizational account already, you can always schedule a demo with Dee Gotzopoulos, who is our enterprise account executive, and she would be only too happy to hear from you. So I think that's come to the end of our webinar. Can I just say a huge thank you to all of you who have joined us this evening, this afternoon, this morning. If you're watching on demand, welcome to you as well. Thank you so much for your questions. We wouldn't be what we are, or ThingLink wouldn't be what it is without all of the questions and the feedback that we get from you all. So a huge thank you from all of the ThingLink team for all of your participation, all of your questions. Thank you so much, everybody, for those comments that are coming in. Yeah, get in touch, Kelly. More than welcome. So any last thoughts from you, Andreas? Thank you so much for that wonderful job showing us the new scenario builder.
Yeah, I'm just so excited about all the new features, and as you said, like there's so much to explore, and I can't wait to work more with the scenario builder. Yeah, and yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message, and we can create scenarios together.
People just saying next level, brilliant, lovely comments coming in. So thank you to everyone for those. Have a safe journey home if you're heading back in the end of the evening. Thank you for the lovely comments. And yeah, watch it again, share it. If you didn't catch it quite in the webinar, you can now create a ThingLink scene just from text, and that is your tags and your images. Incredible. And who knows what we're going to be seeing over the course of 2025. Do stay posted. Take care, everyone, and we can't wait to see you again. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.